record on this. So we've got recording going on now. So yeah, the whiteboard thing, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I appreciate Zoom. Trust me, 2 years
It's
into
good for
this.
classes. I mean, for school type stuff.
Oh,
whiteboard.
sure.
Yeah.
That's, I'm sure what it's good for.
I'm sure it's and business meetings. I'm sure business meetings, they need it. But I was cracking up. I was just like scrolling. I was like trying little swirly things. So, all right. So Amanda, last week was your host. So everything went well last week, I heard. So lots of good recs last week too. I was talking about super spreader. I was at Disneyland with my daughter and my daughter-in-law. So, okay. I have to we'll get to book recs, but I have to give James a shout out for this one because I don't know if you guys all know this, but Disneyland has for 2 rides, Matterhorn and Splash Mountain, they have a single rider line. And if you only are with like one other person, oh my God, it was genius because the Matterhorn line was like 50 minutes. We got on it in 12 minutes. And Splash Mountain was 55 minutes and we got on in 6 minutes. And we weren't in like the same car, but we were like, what? She was just like one in front of me.
So as long as you're willing to be
separated.
Car. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Oh,
as long as you're willing to be separated and you're not really separated that much. I mean, it wasn't like 10 minutes went by and I got on. It was literally like within a minute. James Jensen, our bookseller, gave me that tip. It was like genius.
The Radiator Springs Racer too.
You saved us, over in
California, the Radiator.
Yeah, California, but we just did
yeah.
visit. Saved us 2 hours.
That's incredible.
That's my California Disneyland tip of the day.
Hook up. You shouldn't share that over the open ways. That's like between friends.
I know, right? Yeah.
I guess we are with friends here.
We are much friends. And let's see how many people are with Zoom with us. So 5 people on Zoom heard us. So
as long as you don't share traffic tips, you can share Disneyland trips, but don't share traffic tips.
No shortcuts.
I don't even have traffic tips. So if you have any, I need to we were off the call. I need those because because we're supposed to go up for the Kaliba thing at the end of the month.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Sunday going north. It's like, ay. So sorry for those of you who are calling outside.
On the 5, I usually first thing in the morning and smooth sailing first thing in the morning on a Sunday up north.
Yeah, but it's not it's not till like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So I'm not going to spend all day up there. Yeah. So anyways, we digress. And if you're not in California, sorry, we're talking about freeways, the 5, the 405, the Saturday Night Live, Californians.
Right. All the stereotypes.
All right, it's going to go Tom, Amanda, Andrea, Gabe. Tom, take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's see how this goes. Share. You can see it, right?
Yep, Trust.
Okay, good. So I am talking, the first book is Trust by Hernan Diaz, who I guess if this were the music business, we'd say he's making his major label debut because the first book was with the indie press, Coffee House Press, In the Distance, and that became this surprise hit, which was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize maybe 5 years ago or so. And so now we have his brand new book out last week, Trust, which is getting an unbelievable amount of attention. So what he does is, at least in these 2 books, is he's taking American myths and deconstructing them, reconstructing them. The first book, In the Distance, was about the American West. In Trust, he's writing about the capitalist system. So this takes us into the 1920s and 30s, but he doesn't do it straight. I mean, it's a puzzle kind of book, which I love. So it's set up, it's told in 4 different ways. So the first section is a novel within the novel called Bonds, B-O-N-D-S. That's the first section you get. It's fiction about a major financier and his philanthropist wife. So you get that story. And then the second part is the unfinished memoir of a famous financier, kind of responding to the novel, this best-selling novel that had been published. Third section is told by a woman. So she's the woman who helped that financier write the memoir, the the piece of that memoir that we just read. And the final section goes to the wife. So we're trying to, through each section, trust means so many things in this book, but one of them is, which narration can we trust? Which character can we trust in telling this story? So it's a very complex, assured, amazing novel, big, thick novel that you can really sink your teeth into. He's interrogating capitalism and class. It's really an achievement. And you can see him there. I put a picture of him. One of the unknown, lesser talked about promoters of books is Seth Meyers on late night. He brings on great writers, and really all the best writers show up on the Seth Meyers show. So he was on there last week when we published the book. It was the front page review of the New York Times Book Review this past weekend. And I think it's only the beginning of the talk all summer long about trust. So just out from Riverhead, and you can take
Look
me
at that
off.
cover.
Okay. Oh, you want me to take you off? Okay.
Yeah,
I will take you off.
Cover's amazing.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really good cover.
Gorgeous.
Okay, so Beth Doherty, your custom, was it Custom House that you were talking about? No, Coffee House. Coffee House. She's from Minneapolis, so Coffee House, I guess, is
Oh,
and
that's
Beth,
right.
and I think Gabe, you and Beth might be friends on Facebook now. I don't know. So that's pretty. I love the way this all these worlds are connecting.
It's a
here.
small world.
I know, I love it.
Might have
But
to look. Yeah.
what's that? I love it. I'm loving it. But so I love Amanda. Amanda's on here. She might have a little crush on Hernan Diaz after she saw him on Seth Meyers.
Right.
But what I love about Seth is that he's one of the few, he actually reads the books.
Yeah.
So he's one of the few interviewers, and he does from the get-go, he's always uplifted authors and author voices, and I love him for that. So,
and we don't talk in the business, I feel like we don't talk about it enough. I mean,
right. Yeah, I just think that he's just one of those. I mean, it's hopefully it obviously would sell books at some point, but he does a really good job.
Right, and you can tell from his interview with Hernan that he loves trust. And you can tell he read the book.
Yeah,
it's a very entertaining interview. Highly, you can just go on YouTube and watch it.
I think Amanda put the link in the channel there. So if you're watching on YouTube, sorry, you got a little man crush.
A little bit, yeah.
I love it. That's okay. All right, Amanda, go.
All right. So first up, I have all my books out tomorrow. So the first book I have to present today is called The High Sierra, a love story from the fabulous Kim Stanley Robbins. So this book is a story that tells his adventures in the Sierra Nevada mountains. He has had more than 100 trips to the mountains. So this is a unique combination of memoir, trail guide, environmental manifesto, but ultimately a love story to the wonders of the natural world. Robinson, he will appeal to a wide range of audience. I think even though, the Sierras are locally, I think just the environment and nature love is just going to be fabulous, and anybody can really appreciate this book. Throughout this book, there are over 100 full color images throughout with maps, satellite images, and just really a wonderful book. Super excited to have this one out tomorrow. So, there you go. This is the science fiction author Kim Stanley Robbins with his new book, The High Sierra, a love story.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Kim, is he still running the Clarion? Amanda Kaiser, tell me if I'm wrong on that, on the Facebook stuff. But I think he's still got a San Diego connection here at UCSD, I think.
Because he is in Davis.
I'm not. Yeah. Okay. So maybe not then.
He's based in Davis. So,
but you
never know.
I'm making stuff up. And I totally misread because I was reading too quick. Beth Doherty, I thought she was Facebook friends. She was just saying that we're all friends here and she wants the Disneyland tips. So that's what I get for just trying to read. It's just I need to stop trying to multitask.
One job, Jules. One
thing. Stay focused.
Stay focused, girl.
Focus. Eyes right here. All right, Andrea, go.
Well, I'm coming to you from the High Sierra, from a little mountain town. So there's always connections. A thread weaves out little tendrils of connection everywhere. So I'm going to talk to you first off about Surf is Where You Find It. This is by Jerry Lopez.
Oh,
And I guess there's a saying in the surfing world, the second best thing about surfing is getting to talk about it afterwards. So this book is, it's very thick. You know, it's, oh man, I mean, it's over 400 pages, about 415 pages about the lore, the wisdom of the waves, you know, just crazy like lifetime, you know, stories about a lifetime in surfing, wipeouts, you know, I'm sure surfing ghost stories, that sort of thing. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's fully illustrated throughout, and it's really great. Like, you know, some of the photography in here, actually all the photography is just like mind-blowing. And so this, I mean, how is this book not going to do well at our beloved Warwicks, right? This is from Patagonia Books, and this is, you know, a division of the great Patagonia clothing company, an outdoors company. It is $24.95 trade paperback. It was originally published in 2008, and they sold 50,000 copies at the time. And I just think it's going to do even better because there's, it's really been beefed up in terms of new photography, and it just looks really great. It feels good. And there's some in the store right now, so run on down and pick it up. Surf is where you find it.
I love it. And I love that you said talking about surfing's all about talking about the waves afterwards. It's like if you have a golfer and a surfer in the same person, it's like it's the same sort of thing. It's like
yeah, it's the same thing with rock climbers up here in the Sierra, on the eastern Sierra. Like you can't get them to talk about anything else. It's like
no. And it's like every turn of the wave, and in golf, it's every putt. And it's just like, oh my goodness.
I mean, they're obsessional souls, and that's why. Well, I mean, you sort of have to be if you're going to be a surfer. I mean, like it's a major commitment, and you take your life into your hands every time you go out. So
well, and I love. I mean, it's such a culture. I mean, obviously here in San Diego but it's just like. I've always been amazed at people who just like they get up, they go surf, and then they're putting on their business clothes on the side of the street and they go off to work. It's like, it just cracks me up. It's just like it's such it is. So I was right, Amanda. Kim Stanley Robinson has been involved in the Arthur C. Clarke Center at the Human Imagination at UCSD. So I knew that. And Amanda Kessler put a link to the interview that he did with George R.R. Martin at UCSD. I was there, Amanda. If it's the one that's in the little house, I actually got to go to that George R.R. Martin event because Nancy didn't want to go. And I was like, I'm going. It's George R.R. Martin. I'm going to that. So it was a really interesting interview. It was really cool. So
well, and Robinson is one of our great contemporary writers. So I mean, it's going to be really beautifully, you know, you might like be into his sci-fi, but I mean, come on, it's going to be beautifully written. This book is, you know, it's going to be a nice gift. Yep,
for sure. Okay, Gabe, what do you got for us?
I got to go make more money so I could afford all these books I need to buy.
The list is growing.
You know, I already got Tom's book. Luckily, that's already in the house. But that High Sierra book is right up my alley. I spent a lot of time in the Sierras and Yosemite climbing. And Jerry Lopez was the man when I was a kid. Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the beach, and Jerry Lopez was the guy when I was in high school and middle school that everybody looked up to. So it's like, and I remember the book from back in the day.
Yeah, he's a legend.
50 sounds, you can get it for 50, $60, but now you can get the new edition, which is even more loaded for half the price. So that is a deal. I am going to start with a very Los Angeles centric book. Everybody thought we were crazy. A biography of two young actors, Dennis Hopper and Brooke Hayward, in the 1960s. in LA. I mean, I remember LA in the 60s, and it was fun. You'd go into Hollywood and the streets were all really nicely decorated before it went into decline in the 70s. In the 60s, it was really cool. And all the restaurants were there, Scandia and all around, everybody. All those old classics were still around. As a kid, I remember, and I remember when they went away. But LA in the 60s was great. I wish I was older to have really fully appreciated what was going on in the 60s. I remember my parents taking us, we can't go to Griffith Park anymore because those marijuanos are there all the time, you know. All the hippies were partying at the park all the time, so we couldn't go to Griffith Park anymore. This is the exact period of the relationship between these two young actors as they were coming into their own. Dennis Hopper, working his way up literally in the 60s, was doing like Bonanza and Petticoat Junction and Wagon Train and Combat, and one episode here and one episode there, and building his resume and working his way up to Easy Rider, which apparently is what ended this relationship. He got a little obsessive apparently, but they were married from 61 to 69, I think. And their house on Crescent Heights became like ground zero for all this energy. They collected modern art, and they had, art from people, anybody was walking through their doors. They had Hell's Angels walking through there. They had the Black Panthers walking through there. There was Jane Fonda and Tina Turner. Andy Warhol was there, along with his art. Roy Lichtenstein, they collected Roy Lichtenstein art, and he was on the walls. And so they had this very eclectic home that was opened up for everybody to live the full Hollywood LA experience, and things got a little crazy. So this is for me, it's a great look back at a really fun time in America with a couple of really interesting characters, really, quintessential, though not necessarily from here originally, sort of people who defined what was going on in LA in a certain era. And that it was a very fertile time, and it was a lovely place to be back then. And I'm really, these bio-memoir kind of things are really well done. And Mark Roswell does a great job with the narration. So I'm excited to share that. That came out last week.
That looks incredible.
I know, it looks really good. And you're right, LA in the 60s. And that was especially when you look at the 60s as a decade and what it was like in the early 60s and then the end. I mean, those 9-10 years are just like 180 degrees opposite of each other.
With the Watts riot smack dab in the middle,
And their marriage defined that different. And they're also, those two, from what the reviews I've read, they came from different worlds. I mean, right. She's the world of old Hollywood. He's gonna represent New Hollywood.
New Hollywood. Okay, somebody's saying, but is it Mike Nichols worthy?
It does. It does remind me. I love books like this. And Mark Harris, the author of Mike Nichols, wrote a great book about that period, about 60s pictures in the 60s. So, and Dennis Hopper's a character there. And so, yes, it is Mike Nichols.
Oh my God, this is Tom. You're starting to remind me of the dad in My Big Fat Greek Wedding with like the Greek word origin.
Everything relates to
every word is Greek. Origin of every word.
Oh my God, I just saw that movie the other night for the first time in years, and it still holds up. It is hilarious.
I just quoted it 2 days ago to my mother, but she didn't get the quotes. I was like, oh,
okay, never mind. But no, as a matter of fact, the origin.
Just put some Windex on it. Just put some Windex on it.
What can I say?
All right, Tom, we're giving you some grief. What's your next pick?
I love it. All right. So my next pick is Search by Michelle Hunovan. So she's a great Los Angeles writer. She lives in the San Gabriel Valley.
There's a good picture.
I know. I'm going to explain. There's a very good reason why that's there.
All right.
So so she's been a food writer. She reviewed restaurants for the LA Times for years, but she's also a very accomplished novelist who's been nominated for many awards. But she's just one of those really good writers who've never, I felt, despite all that stuff, she's won the James Beard Award for her food writing.
Wow.
She's never gotten her due. And this could be the book. I mean, because it's very entertaining. It's, you know, for summer reading, this has got a lot going for it. So it's about it's got the most unlikely premise though, which is that it's set in Altadena, which is where Michelle lives. And it's set in a very progressive Unitarian Universalist congregation where it's about a search committee. They're searching for the next person to run the church. And it's set up as a memoir within a memoir. So I love books like Trust had that book within a book. I love books within books. So this is the character of Dana, who's the main character, shares a lot of qualities with Michelle too. She's a food writer. She's looking for her next book project. And she's sort of in this in-between moment where she's still a believer, but she's kind of losing faith in the church a little bit. And she's looking for her next book project. So she's asked to be part of the search committee. And so she thinks, well, I will secretly be writing a memoir about this experience on the search committee. And what she comes up is a really rich mix of characters of all ages and generations and sexuality. And it's a real mix. And so it's kind of the book for our moment, because it is a book about trying a group of people who have a lot of differences, trying to come up with things they have in common. So I feel like there's a lot to be said for, this search committee representing something much larger, which we're all struggling with right now. And on top of that, there's the food. She's a fantastic food writer. So she takes different members of the search committee with her when she goes to review a restaurant, the character of Dana. So you get sort of an inside look at what the life of a food critic is as well, how she's sharing food, trying everything. It's really entertaining. So it's a wry, wise novel about real human beings and food. It just really delivers on a lot of different fronts. Ron Charles in the Washington Post, who was the least likely person I thought, who reviews super literary books, he said, I would have never believed that I'd review and love a novel that includes recipes. But Michelle Hunterman's Search and her mid-morning glory muffins have made me a believer, which is appropriate because Search is a story about the evolving nature of belief. So if you're wondering if you are the reader for this book, that picture tells you. So there's Kim Fay, author of Love and Saffron. There's J. Ryan Stradle, who authored Great Midwest, who has a book coming in March, which I'll be talking about. That's March of 23, looking ahead, but there's a book. And then Michelle Hunterman. So if you like Jay Ryan's work, you like Love and Saffron, you'll really enjoy Search, I think. So that was at the LA Times Festival of Books just before they went to do a food panel, a writing food panel at the festival. So
I was going to say, my eyes are, as you can see, my eyes, I've got the Sybil Trelawney, or however you say, glasses. My eyes are like Emma Thompson from Harry Potter. So I feel like with these glasses.
I know, I couldn't make it any bigger, but
I was thinking of Jay Ryan, because I'm like, okay, this is Jay Ryan, but Beth's on here, and I agree with you 1000%, Beth. I love that cover. It's a great cover, and the font on it, everything about it is so good. Yeah. It's a really good.
Well, and I wish I knew the name of Michelle's dog. She was holding a dog in that picture.
Gotta give the dog photo credit. Hey, Liz is on here. Hi, Liz. She said it was a fabulous panel too. Liz Campier is on here.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw Liz there. Yep.
Yeah.
Hunterman reviews really well. I remember Round Rock. Round Rock was 25 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And she doesn't publish that regularly. I mean, she goes a lot of years between books. But honest to God, every time I see a Michelle Hunterman review, it's like a lot of reviews that are really, really rated reviews.
Right. So she deserves to have a higher profile. She's one of those many writers who just deserves more than she's gotten. But I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Amanda wants to know what's the story behind the picture. I think the story behind the picture is they were getting ready to go to a panel.
The story behind the picture is I knew they were getting ready for the panel. So I was watching their table and I was like, as soon as they get up, I'm going to ask them if I can get that picture.
Were you one of those stalker people?
Could be.
All right. I'm glad to know that it's not just like me.
I'm one of those nice stalkers, though. There are
I
some.
did that in the green room myself.
There you
That's
You're
go.
like,
right.
that's what I go. I'm like, ooh,
Oh,
hello.
I
Can I
need
have a
that
picture?
photo. I need that
Listen, if
photo.
Mike Nichols was here today, you know that he would have been all over that. Okay.
Exactly. And
And
Mark
then
Harris,
speaking
the author
of-
of Mike Nichols, was at the festival. I tried to stalk him, but we never connected.
Oh, my God. You're
I
gonna have
got
to
my
work.
photo with
maybe-
Alton Brown.
maybe
You know I
need to-
wouldn't be
at
showing
festival.
that picture. That would be the first picture I show you, was me with the author of Mike Nichols. but-
Absolutely. And I think what I need to do is I think I need to try and get him on a Zoom event and you could do the interview, Tom. I think it's just,
right.
there's something
You're
I've
right.
got to create. I have to create
Yeah.
this thing, I think.
That's true. It's true because he takes so much time in between books. It'll be another 4 or 5 years before we have.
Exactly. So I'm thinking that I might try and make this happen. So
All right.
anyways. All right.
Thank you,
Okay,
Julie.
Amanda.
Okay. So my gardeners are here. So hopefully I can speak
We
over
can hear
them.
him. We
Okay,
can hear him.
great.
So yep.
Okay, so here we go. So for my next book, I have Geiger, and I am going to totally butcher his name. So please forgive me. He is Swedish. So for Gustav Skordeman, woo, I hope I pronounced
I think that's good.
all right, that's good enough. Close enough. I tried. So Geiger, one word spoken over a phone line, nothing else. Geiger, one word that triggers a woman to pick up a gun and kill her husband of 50 years. Geiger, one word that leads a policewoman down a haunting path that brings in the darkness from her past to the present. So this is a Swedish thriller. It's centered around a seemingly perfect family full of secrets, the ties and the lies that bring them together, and we'll have readers saying one word at the close of this very, very twisty novel, Geiger.
I love it. Is it a translation?
It is. So it
Yeah.
is a debut as well.
Okay. Ooh.
So yeah,
Ooh.
so debut thriller. There we go. We've got that. But yeah, so you're gonna find out what causes women. Just the word Geiger. That's it. Just Geiger. Nothing
I-
else. And
I
she kills her
love
husband.
50 years. That's it.
50 years.
I'm going on 40. Let's see. I've been with my husband for 42 years, 41, 41. Yeah, 40.
Oh, you were a child.
We met
great.
in college. Yeah, met in my first year of college. Started dating my second year of college. No, second year, something like that. Yes, just a child bride. We waited like 8 years to get married though. So it's like, no, teasing. Anyways, who's watching this?
More about Julie's love life in a minute.
In a minute. Stay tuned. All right, Andrea. Save me.
Okay. I want to talk about The Blue Butterfly,
Ooh.
a novel of Marion Davies, and this is by Leslie Knack, and Warwick's will be hosting an event on May 25th.
Yep.
Now, this book has already really taken off, and I think you've already sold 20 copies, Julie.
I
So
know.
we might have to talk about getting some more for your event.
I know. I think so. Let me look at
And
this.
so for folks who don't know who Marion Davies was, she met William Randolph Hearst in 1915 when she was a young beauty dancing on the stage in Broadway, and then commenced a 34-year I illicit, I don't know if that's the word. It's an affair, a wild, mad 34-year-old affair involving a secret child, and everything else. So it was she had a movie career besides her dancing and the stage. She became an actress as well and had a 2 decades and 44 films, and also had a secret affair with Charlie Chaplin. So she was a woman, a force of nature for sure, and obviously men were highly attracted to her. She was known as one of the great beauties of the period, and this is basically a behind the scenes historical fiction take. It's a historical novel on her life and how the movie Citizen Kane really stole her legacy away from her, as Orson Welles was not kind to her character in the movie. And I just think that this has got all the hallmarks of a great sort of romantic historical novel. And it is a trade paperback at $16.95. And it's from She Writes Press, one of our small little indie presses that, as you can tell by the name, they concentrate on women's writing. So.
And I don't know if they're local. I think they're here. I don't know if they're here in San Diego, but they do there's a lot of San Diego authors that use She Writes, and it's a great little press.
Yeah, it is.
And
And you do really well. And Works does really well with once you get a hold of a novel, like, before the book is even barely published, you've already sold like 30 copies or something.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
It's a good local connection on that one. So love it, and love Leslie. So yay. Hope it should be a really good event. Okay. I don't think Orson Welles was very nice to anybody, was he? Really?
Doesn't seem like he liked anybody. It was just.
But he was a genius.
Oh,
Well, I really like his stuff. I just saw one of his late films about a art forger that is
F is for
amazing.
fake.
Pardon me?
F is for fake, right?
F is for fake. And
Yeah.
I think it's actually a work of genius. I think it's really amazing. And but he didn't like anybody in Hollywood. He had there's a book published, I think is it from you? Is it from Penguin? He had talks with the great Henry Jaglom. It's called and Henry Jaglom did the book, published a book called Lunches with Orson, I think. And it's just amazing. It's basically interviews, it's basically Henry saying one sentence and then Orson like talking for hours, and just he hates everybody. He hates every film. Like Charlie Chaplin gets a bad rap, it's pretty great. I think really the only person that I've ever seen him say anything nice about in Hollywood, and it's well deserved, is no, I'm sorry, it's not Mike Nichols. It's Buster Keaton.
Oh, Buster Keaton, sure.
all right. All righty. Also love-hate relationship with Orson Welles, I guess. All right, Gay. All right, Gay, what do you got for us?
Remarkably Bright Creatures is my next book by Shelby Van Pelt. This also went on sale last week. It got picked as a Read with Jenna Today's Show Book Club pick. And before that, it was our lead read, which is our in-house favorite voted upon all of us. This was the winner. And it's, this is one of these warm novels about an octopus. It's a woman who has suffered some losses. Her husband, her son disappeared 30 years prior to where the story begins. She's been working, cleaning them in an aquarium. And since her husband died a few years back, and she is living alone and doing the best she can, mopping the floors late at night at the aquarium and keeping things clean and ready for the next day. The other main character, so that's Tova, and the other main character is Marcellus, who is this giant Pacific octopus who is very bright and manages to sneak out of his tank every night and hits the snack bar and raids the fridge, and until he's busted one day by Tova, and he's just like sort of chilling in the snack room and gets busted. But Marcellus may know what went on that fateful night of her son's death, and she and he become close. He is you get into his head very much, and he resents humans. They're his captors, but he develops a soft spot for Tova. So it's one of these interspecies relationship books. Very warm, very sweet, and surprisingly good. It's the kind of thing that normally, like Deborah doesn't read anything like this. She really thought this was a very sweet book. She likes her stuff hard edged and mean and Shuggy Danish.
That's why I love
She,
Deborah.
she likes her fiction dark, and even her TV dark. But she really thought this was a sweet book. This and the Charlie Mackey, The Boy, the Horse, and the Boy, Mo, and the Horse are the two books that have really surprised me that she's liked. But got a lovely package, and octopuses are in.
Yep.
And
No, and
it's
they
a very
are
fun read.
so smart. We have I can't remember the bookseller at the store that picked this up just out of a galley thing and loved it. I mean, so just really, really loved it. So, and I
Okay.
wanted to tell you, Gabe, that I was with Meredith May this weekend.
Oh, good. How's
He was
Meredith doing?
down here for, she's the one that wrote Honey Bus, and her new book is, you talked about loving Edie a couple weeks ago, and she was doing a Voices for Children fundraiser. She was so great. I love her. Yeah, it was really fun.
She did herself a favor being very nice.
Yeah. So she was, it was really it was a great event, and she was lovely and sold lots of books. So it was a good deal.
Great.
Okay, lightning round. So, and I love that Jenna picked that book too, because I love the book clubs that are picked, Jenna, Reese, all of them. It just highlights some really, new authors and good stuff.
Yeah,
and I think it's
exactly
really,
new voices you get discovered all the time.
really, it
Yes.
really is a nice thing that they do that. I do love that. All right, Tom, lightning round.
All right, I have the perfect lightning round pick. It is Emily Henry's Book Lovers.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. So what more needs to be said, except if you didn't know, Emily Henry has a new book out for summer. So this is like even though it's not Memorial Day yet, this is the official start of summer. There's a new Emily Henry. So in the new book, I mean, her concepts are fantastic. I mean, there's the 3 so far, each perfectly executed, great titles. So the new book is about a cutthroat literary agent who leaves the city for a vacation in North Carolina. She's trying to get it with her sister, trying to get away to a small town. There she runs into an editor from New York who she has not a great relationship with. The last person she expects to connect with, but yeah, they connect. So it's like from irritable character, irritable to romantic lead. It's big city to small town. It's got all of those great elements that you want from a book like this. It's perfect summer reading. And she's like one of our very biggest authors right now. I mean, she has grown and grown and grown. Just like the first 2, it's published immediately in trade paperback, so it's a $17 paperback. But automatic bestseller. Where the numbers are huge so far.
Yeah. And and my daughter loved it. And it's just that she's 30, so my daughter's not quite 30, but it's Renee, you're right. Yes, it's a good summer read. And Renee's on here saying her TBR list is growing by the minute here. But yeah, book lovers. I mean, it's just that it's the summer read. It is the quintessential summer read, but really well done. I mean, that's
I mean, she gets great reviews, and there's an NPR review that really delved into the tropes that she was using and how she was undermining them or not. So she's really good at what she does.
She's really good. And Gabe, back to remarkably,
loved it.
What was it?
I read Beach Read, loved it.
Yeah.
Tom gave me a copy.
Yep. But yeah, no, and Arlene, yes, it's the great characters and dialogue. It's not just a typical rom-com. But yeah, Marlene's got her TBR list going too. But Gabe, back to Remarkably Bright Creatures. We forgot Sarita's on here. She loves the dog, the animal human connection thing. So that was, I forgot. Amanda reminded. So yay, Sarita, we got a book for you this week too.
Well, and I'll say one more thing about Emily Henry. Like, I remember presenting the first book. Beach Read was the first one, and it was presenting it on tea time, like maybe super early.
Yeah,
like we had just gone into.
We had just somewhere in 2020, somewhere in March of 2020 or April.
Yeah, or April, and I didn't know what we had, and I was, but yeah. Oh, anyway, it takes me back to those early days of tea time.
I know, amazing what we've done here. It's like 2 years, but she's definitely her rocket soared on that one. Yeah.
Pandemic or no pandemic, she's on a rocket.
Yeah. All right, Amanda.
Hey. So for my last book here, we have Hollow Fires by Samira Ahmed. So this book is a young adult title. So this is for your 14 plus. So Sophia Mirage dreams of becoming a journalist, and the one thing she's learned as editor of her school newspaper is that a journalism job is all about finding the facts and to not let your personal biases affect the story. But all that changes one day when she finds the body of a murdered boy. Jawad Ali was 14 years old when he built a cosplay jetpack that a teacher mistook for a bomb. So the jetpack got him arrested, labeled a terrorist, and eventually killed. But he's more than just a dead body and more than Bomb Boy. He's definitely a person whose life is worth remembering. Driven by Jawad's haunting voice, she is guided through her investigation. Sophia seeks to tell the whole truth about the murdered boy and those who killed him because of their hate-based beliefs. So this is a gripping and powerful book. It uses an innovative format that is combined of interviews, court documents, prose, and other text formats to tell this story as it goes through. This novel was actually inspired by a real story, Clock Boy, which was a 14-year-old Muslim student in Texas whose teacher mistook his homemade clock for a bomb. So there you go.
Oh, I do remember that story.
Yeah,
Okay.
that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't. I do remember that story.
Yeah, so that was the inspiration.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And I think that author is appearing at the San Diego Festival of Books.
Oh, fabulous.
I know. So there you go. So if you're in San Diego, festival is August 20, whatever that Saturday is, 21st, somewhere around there. So there you have it. All right, Andrea, lightning round, lady. What you got?
I'm going to talk about a book of poetry. Let's see here. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh,
now we
you
can,
got me
yep.
wrong.
Yep, it's our powerhouse Ada Limon, who this is her 5th book of poetry. This is published by Milkweed Editions, one of our great poetry, small press poetry presses. It's $22 hardcover, and it is out tomorrow officially. And this is also an Indie Next selection for May of this year. So all the indie bookstores across the country love this so much to put it on that list. And I can't say enough about this poet. As you can tell, Gabe, one of the most eclectic readers of any of the reps I know, knows her and loves her. And she's an in-house favorite, and the National Books Critics Circle Award, love her too, gave her a nod, gave her an award, and she's a finalist for the National Book Award. So I really think that it is just a matter of time before she takes home one of the big boys in the literary awards. And I just cannot say enough about her work. She's amazing. This book really revolves around the interconnectedness between the human and the non-human, our ancestors and our current generation. And it's going to get a lot of press. It already is. Like, pre-pub press is nice. It's going to get a lot of attention. And do yourself a favor. If you like poetry, or you know somebody, you have somebody in your life who likes poetry, pick this up for yourself or as a gift. Just trust me on this. It's not going to be wasted money. And besides, is buying a book ever wasted money? No.
Sure.
We can all agree on that.
Yep.
Nikki Finney says, Limon doesn't write as if she needs us. She writes as if she wants us. Her words reveal, coax, pull, see us. She is a poet with the most generous of eyes. And I really love that quote. I think it just encapsulates what Limon is all about, and just couldn't happen to a more lovely person and a great writer. Her arc is still rising, but let's hope that she hits one of the big, like inner circles of like one of the big awards this year again. So
Speaking of awards, I saw your note and I saw they announced the Pulitzer today. I did not know the Pulitzer winner, but I had Monkey Boy. It was a finalist from Grove.
Yeah,
congratulations
I
on that.
discussed that. Yes, Monkey Boy by Francisco Goldman. The
'Cause
great.
you talked about that. You talked about that when it first came out, didn't you? I think.
I think
on
I
here.
may have. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
probably did it when it came out in hardcover.
Yeah.
It's out today or tomorrow, excuse me, in trade paperback. And he's just one of the great Guatemalan American writers. And his whole body of work is amazing, and it's just nice to see him announced as a finalist, one of 2 finalists for the Pulitzer Prize in fiction this year, behind the winner from New York Review of Books.
Yeah, no, I always love the finalists. Even with the other prizes like short lists, I love all of those books. There's always, it's not just the winner that I usually read. It's like, I love the others that are on there too, that got highlighted. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me about that, because I was going to speak about it, and I'm thinking and laughing about Mike Nichols so much. I just
So we
totally
we're distracted from the prizes. So
I'm thinking about Orson Welles, and I don't know.
Henry
All right.
Jaglom. Yeah.
Gabe,
Henry
bring us
Jaglom.
home.
Bring it on home,
Bring
Junior.
it on home.
I do love Ada Limon, by the way. The Faintest Blue is a really lovely poem in it that just puts you into this great spot. Great power place. So I'm going to talk about Jamila Green Ruins Everything by Zarqa Navaz. And I love this book. I like funny books. I always mention funny books. Not enough of them as far as I can see. Love Jamila Green. Jamila is a young woman, got a life, got a family, got a husband. And she aspires to write. Not only aspires to write, she publishes her memoirs. And, she just, like, any naive writer, you're going to zoom to the top of the charts, make all kind of money and famous and be on Seth Meyers. So the book opens, she's at her signing, and in walks one of her college friends who's also an author, and just completely overshadows her event. And she goes away pissed off because Jamila is kind of petty. Jamila is imperfect as anybody can be. She is selfish, petty, throws tantrums, and she's just like had it. And she's trying to figure out a way to, how can I move forward at somehow? So she walks up to her local mosque. There's a new imam in town, and she very brazenly asks him to support her she wants to do something, a gesture of goodwill, and maybe that'll change her luck, kind of thing. So that's how unaware she is. Just wants to do this, anything, just I'll pay, whatever kind of a thing. So he's kind of blown away by how bad she is, and so he agrees. He agrees, but she's got to, commit a real gesture of goodwill and in good faith, and it's got to be genuine. And so she reluctantly accepts all his conditions because he wants her to focus on the eye on the prize. And sure enough, as soon as they find the homeless guy that she's going to kind of rehabilitate and take care of, he gets he gets recruited by an ISIS group, a terrorist group, and all of a sudden he disappears. And then the new imam, who is this really nice Ibrahim, the new imam is under suspicion of his church being a cover for a terrorist group, and then he disappears. And then Jamila's in it because she's got to figure out what happened, and she's got to save Ibrahim, who she's sure is getting tortured in some black ops center in Egypt or someplace. And so it's all that on the outside, and underneath there is it really is sort of a Jonathan Swift satire look at the terrorist world and the world of ISIS and the America that we live in and the America that we exist in. So very smart, hilariously funny. But I think when you get to the end, you're like, oh, I read a book of substance.
Mhm.
So I can't recommend it enough. I've been talking this book up like every time I talk about a book.
I love the quote that you put on there. A satire about ISIS is a big swing to take.
I thought the same thing. It is. That's
It's like-
amazing.
I know that, and to pull it off has to, so she obviously did pull that off. So
Yeah,
all right.
she's a great writer. I was really impressed by the structure and the whole process of the way she just formed this novel. It's an impressive little novel.
I love it. Okay, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about events that are coming up at Warwick's. So got some in-person stuff happening. Chris Hoddy, who wrote Deep State, was his first one. Savage Road, I think, was the second. This is his third one. So if you like, oops, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. Come and see Chris on Wednesday. Chris Bojalin's doing a luncheon with us. Jack Carr, who wrote Terminal List, will be at the Coronado Library. Oh, we just have all kinds of fun stuff on our front page. William Faderman, Lord Watt. We just have a plethora of great events.
Oh,
both
Sarah
in-
McCoy, she's great.
Sarah McCoy's, yep, really good. Got Sarah McCoy coming. So anyways, got some really good stuff happening. So check out our website to see what's happening both in person and virtual. Another great week of books. I don't know if I was on here with you all after I had a lunch with one of the editors from Hogarth he was in San Diego for the Festival of Books, and then LA Festival of Books, and he came down. We were talking about how the first week of the month just is like this crazy release time.
It's true.
And so but there's all through the month, there's lots of good stuff. So happy
Yeah, I'm
reading.
gonna and I'm sorry because there's some more good books coming out next week for my passel of publishers. But I will be in the Bay Area for publisher meetings for the fall list. So I'm gonna miss y'all next week. So.
Well, we'll miss you too.
But
We
I'll
can
catch
maybe
up.
do some the next week. You can do some
Yeah,
of
I'll
the
catch up. I'll
catch
catch
up.
up on some,
Yeah.
all the good stuff. So
all right. Happy reading, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for
Thanks.
joining in.
you.
See you soon.